What's up, everybody? This is the Grand Light Gazette where we talk about One Piece damn near every damn day. That's Kev. I'm Corey. If you guys like One Piece, like, subscribe, share. Today we are talking about Mihawk. So,
Hmm.
just to well, this was obvious. This was Kev's idea. Let me preface by
Yep.
saying that. Uh, but that got me thinking when we saw the 12 faces like on the bottom when I think when was it Vegapunk was talking about the One Piece
Sure.
and everybody was like, oh, Mihawk's not there. You know what I mean? We saw like the shadow of maybe Shanks's brother. We saw Kobe. We
Yeah.
saw Sabo and Luffy, Akainu, Aokiji. Saw a lot of people, but we did not see Mihawk. Didn't see Crocodile either, but I don't think we ever thought we were gonna see Crocodile. But
No.
it kind of places Mihawk in a weird position where it's like, we know you're important to Zoro's story, but are you really important to the story? So it's like, what are you doing? What are your plans? What are your because you're a part of Cross Guild now. So
Yep.
is that a plan for a further plan? We're gonna talk about it. Kev, what do you think?
Let's talk about it. Uh, we start off with Mihawk joining the Cross Guild. What was his agenda before? He was just floating around on the ocean. He was a one-man crew for during the time skip while he was training Zoro. He was in an almost vacant castle with just Perona, him, and Zoro. So he really didn't have an agenda or a plan that he was working on that we saw at least. But then suddenly, just after the time skip, he joins League with the Cross Guild. With that, he probably talked to Crocodile first,
Yeah. So
but
it
then
says
once him and Crocodile got together,
so
like, oh,
Crocodile actually hit him up.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so
okay,
Crocodile hit him up and he was like, I don't know, man. Like, this was right after they dissolved the seven warlords.
yep,
They attacked him. He was on the run. Croc's on the run. Croc calls him, like, hey, we should team up. And honestly, if your goal wasn't the One Piece Crocodile
hmm
or the ancient weapons, a Crocodile Mihawk as the final bosses of an arc, that's a good arc. Y'all could have like took that and did
yep,
something with it. Yeah, that's when they also I guess that's when they teamed up initially. Buggy stumbled around and then, Buggy does Buggy's thing, lies,
yeah.
cheats, steals money, borrows money, convinces other people he's better, and then the Cross Guild was formed. But going back to like the establishment of it, like Kev was talking about, um, what do you think the goal was to originally like team up with Crocodile? Do you think it was just like, hey, let's go for the One Piece, or do you think it's like, hey, man, we're just gonna stay out of people's way for now?
So the original plan, I believe, for the Warlords was to have something that rivals the Yonko in a way. That way that they have more power or there's more of a balance. And I think with them joining up with a Yonko, not a Yonko yet, but Buggy, a future Yonko, they were maybe too big to approach. Something that Shanks has probably had a lot of experience in. Like, you're, unless it's an admiral, you're not pushing up on a Shanks boat. You're just not doing it.
Yeah,
And I feel like right now that's also what they're coming together. And I think that kind of also spells out for the future of the Cross Guild as well. I'm thinking other past warlords. You have Dofi, probably, Trafalgar Law, who's in need of help right now.
because at the end of the day, the Cross Guild, like you said, gives them what they had before:
Yep.
uninterrupted peace. I can just do my own thing and I ain't gotta worry
Yep.
about y'all. It
Yep.
used to be I just worked for y'all every quarter, like once every quarter. Now I actually got to do so. I do like the One Piece show, but because it shows Garp calling Mihawk like, "Hey, go find these people," and that's
Mhm.
You haven't seen it yet. That might be a thing we have to do because season 2's coming out while we're in the drought. Maybe you'll watch it. We'll talk about it. Or maybe I'll describe the episodes to you. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think uninterrupted peace of mind is what they're looking for. Like, hey, I can do my own thing. I'm not too sure what Mihawk does on a day-to-day basis, but Crocodile likes doing like underground crime, and you can't do that with all the cops watching.
He's probably putting more into the Buggy's delivery service side of the thing right now, just because he has so much money. He has the underworld connections. That's why I like Dofi joining. I think he has a lot of underworld connections, and eventually they'll have to evacuate. But who knows? I'm seeing the Cross Guild. Mihawk. I like Mihawk there because he adds that swordsman aspect to it. But he's just so mysterious. We just have so many theories about him going right now. We don't know enough about him. Put it down in the chat. Like, what are some theories you guys are working with right now for Mihawk? Yeah, what's going on with his eyes?
Let us know your Mihawk theories because I'm going to talk a little bit about the crosses and everything like that. But before that, Dofi, bro. And when we say Dofi could potentially join the Cross Guild, it's like you could give him agency by doing that. Like you could say, hey, he joins and he gives them the ancient knowledge that, that Robin's been waiting her whole life for, that we just got her. Bam, guess what? Dofi joined them and gave it to them. Now everybody's on the same page. You know what I mean?
Because Dofi also knows about the crown jewel too.
Exactly. Actually, he knows more.
Yeah, exactly. He knows everything. The crown jewel is just a little taste. Like, he knows what it is. He probably knows a lot more about it. He's laughing when he's hearing Vegapunk's message with Suru. Him and Suru are just kind of chilling there.
Which brings us to my point. What does Mihawk know? Because he has all that, what was the word I said before? For all the, the crosses and all that paraphernalia.
Oh,
yeah. He has all those crosses that we've seen on Kuma's Holy Bible. We see him sitting in churches in whatever that island is called. There's got to be something he knows. And if it isn't something he outright knows, that's like a connection to maybe his sword or maybe the place he's staying at. He's had to have found something up in that old church. You know what I mean? You gotta find, and if that's a church for the sun god, you gotta find an old Bible or old scripture or just a note or some kind of paper with some kind of writing in there. You know what I mean?
Mihawk at 19 had the same cross too. So he's had it for that same cross, the same dagger cross for 30 years.
So
it's important.
I know you have this big theory that he's a celestial dragon, but that's one of the reasons why I think he's not. Now he could be an ex-celestial dragon that converted. You know what I mean? This is his whole thing after he converted. But I think it's just I think he's like Yami from Black Clover. He's a swordsman from a place far away. And maybe we are not going to get too much info about that place far away. I like the idea of him being a vampire. But again,
I do like that.
It's setting it up. His name's Dracula.
I mean, and even in the translation, it's actually Dracula.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I think it's just how they say it, and they're like, no, we're not gonna. His name's Dracula.
Yeah. I think here in America, Dracula is actually trademarked or something.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
I'm giving it the accent in my head. I'm like, I can see
see
where they got Dracula.
Gotcha.
It's like, what's his name? No, I'm playing. But
that shit ain't working here.
Let's see. Yeah, his name's Dracula. So I mean, I don't see us fitting in too much about him being a vampire if he is, unless we find out what's going on with Stussy. And I don't know where they're gonna fit that in. So I mean, it's just more questions.
More questions. My questions. My main question is, how do you become a warlord when you are a one man crew? That one will always stick out to me. That's why I think that he was a part of a crew. I put more money on the Shanks crew. Him and Shanks were crew members at one point. I don't know. Not 100% sure on that yet. But he had to gain notoriety before becoming a warlord. And at the top of
Supernovas
that,
do have captains and like first
yeah,
mates. So
on top of that, why would we never cover, is Shanks being offered this position before he's a Yonko? Like, why is Shanks not up there when Law is up there, for heaven's sake? It's like, oh,
oh, as a
you
Yonko,
have no, as like no, as a warlord. Like, was
yeah.
Shanks never offered the warlord position?
I think he. I
No.
think it got to a point where like he does anymore. I think it's kind of to that XXL freshman where
Hmm.
up until like 2013, like people were kind of vibing with a lot of the picks, and then it's like okay, maybe two of them are cool, and then one of them's cool, and then none of them are cool. You know what I mean? And it's like a whole thing where I remember Drake wasn't invited to '09, and then he became the biggest artist of that
Hmm.
generation, and he wasn't invited, and so he didn't want to come back for 2010. You know what I mean? When they asked him, shit like that. So
Whatever.
I think maybe like
Yeah,
Shanks is like, nah, that's under me. You're looping me in with people under me, and I ain't gonna do that.
I
First of
agree.
all, you ain't looping me in with nobody anyway, but I ain't gonna do that.
I agree.
Mihawk took the deal.
Mihawk conquers hockey.
Mihawk took the
Conquers
deal.
hockey.
I think he's got to. His blade's
Yeah,
black. I think he made the blade black himself.
I agree. I agree.
He is the first mention of a black blade, so I think he has to naturally have at least. Well, sorry, that's our map. Well, Conqueror's Hockey is like imbuing it in your blade, right?
Well, I think he has future sight as well. I mean, I'll just go ahead and tip that off to you now. We can talk about that off air and see if we need to bring that in. But I think Hawkeye's. I think his epitaph is definitely something that really just screams at me with his different version
In the
of
notes, it
eyes.
said he was supposed to have like a clairvoyant kind of.
Yeah,
Uh, I think the name meaning like his name was Hawkeyes, but it was supposed to be like more of a clairvoyant kind of thing. So yeah, future sight, I can see that. Especially being
could
like the
have.
greatest swordsman. These are things you gotta have. You know what I mean? Like when you're checking the list, you're like, if you don't have one of these, how'd you even make it here?
Could have been
Law.
could have been the person who taught it to Shanks to begin with. We never really know as of yet. I'm really vibing with the that they're friends. I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
That
It
would be
kind of
cool.
mirrors Zoro and Luffy quite a bit, but in this version, Shanks stopped him from achieving his dream, and so he decided to leave. Rather, where Zoro even took the heat a couple times, almost died for his captain, and then I
He
don't
is
know.
older than Shanks though, right? Because
He
in the
is.
flashback, when
Zoro's also.
Roger is being beheaded, he is in the crowd and
He's
he
19.
is grown.
Yeah, he's 19 in the crowd.
And Shanks has to be around like 15, 12, 13, teens.
Something like that.
He's teens. Um,
It's right
I
there.
wonder. I
I'm
wonder if
close.
that's where they ran into each other for the first time.
I'm
Like if they
close.
were friends, and he's like, "Hey, you, I recognize you. You were on that crew with that guy." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, try and learn how to
I mean,
fucking sword fight." Like that. At the end of the
they were
day,
all there,
teachers
dude.
who teach sword fighting are always just like, "Well, you want to learn how to fucking fight or something?" Like we ain't got nothing
Yeah.
else to do. They're like, yeah." It's either that or they're trying to beg the teacher to teach how to fight. But this one seems more of like a, hey, well, I mean, shit, what else we gonna do?
Shanks was 23, or no, he was 14 during the assassination or during the
14.
execution.
Okay, 5 year difference.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Anyways, put it down in the chat, guys. What are you feeling? I think Mihawk has to come back up soon. I think it's going to be a lot of cross guild in the next couple chapters when we take our break away from Elbath, at least. So
Let
put it
us
down in
know.
the chat, guys. I'm waiting to hear from y'all.
Yeah, let us know. And we'll be back with another one. I think that we got a new chapter this week. So this
Think
video
so.
is
I
coming
hope
out
so.
Wednesday. So the new chapter comes out in like 2 days. Nice. All right.
Cool.
Catch y'all later.
Peace. All right, I gotta go.